In this video, we will learn what DTC codes are, how they work, and how they can affect the performance of our car. We will answer the following frequently asked questions. First, what are OBD II codes or DTC codes? DTC codes or OBD II codes are codes that our vehicle displays when it is experiencing a fault. Once we scan the ECM, electrical control module, with an automotive scanner, it will throw a DTC error code or OBD II code in case the vehicle develops a fault. What does a specific DTC code mean on a vehicle? A diagnostic trouble code, DTC, on a vehicle represents a specific problem in the onboard diagnostic, OBD, system. Each DTC code has a unique numerical code that is used to identify the fault. For example, DTC code P0171 means there is a problem with the fuel mixture in the engine, while DTC code P0455 indicates a failure in the fuel evaporation system. It is important to note that a single DTC code does not always indicate the exact cause of the problem. A more thorough diagnosis is usually required to determine the underlying cause and resolve the fault. It is advisable to take the vehicle to a workshop so that a professional can diagnose and repair the problem. An OBD II scanner can help identify DTC codes, but troubleshooting requires a deeper knowledge of the system and the ability to perform tests and repairs on the vehicle. What is the difference between generic DTC codes and manufacturer-specific DTC codes? Generic DTC codes are defined by the Society of Automotive Technology, SAE, and are used to identify common problems in the OBD II system. These codes include simple, universal descriptions of problems, allowing mechanics and technicians to make more efficient and accurate diagnoses. On the other hand, manufacturer-specific DTC codes are developed by each vehicle manufacturer and may include more detailed information about specific problems in their line of vehicles. However, these codes are more complex and require a specialized scanner to be read and understood. In summary, generic DTC codes provide an overview of the problem and are easier to understand, while manufacturer-specific DTC codes offer a more detailed understanding of the problem but are more difficult to read and understand. How to get OBD II codes? In order to obtain the fault code of our vehicle, it is necessary to use an automotive scanner or OBD II code reader. This scanner will give us an error code. This code indicates the vehicle's failure. You can then use our search engine to find everything about your DTC code, what it means, symptoms, causes, and solutions. In the cards and in the description of the video, I will leave you a website where you can check your DTC code. Important: an automotive scanner is not the only way to know what the fault code our vehicle has, but it is the most reliable and accurate. How to interpret OBD II codes? OBD II codes or DTC codes are made up of 5 digits. Example: P0420. First digit. It is always a letter and indicates the section where the fault is located. Second digit. It will be made up of numbers. A number 0, generic codes. A number 1, manufacturer-specific codes. Numbers 2 and 3 may refer to a generic or specific code, according to the following rule. For powertrain codes, example, P2000. A number 2 will always refer to generic codes. A number 3 will refer to a manufacturer's code if it is less than P33, P30, P33, and to generic codes if it is between P34 and P39. As for the other systems such as chassis, body, and network, number 2 will always be a manufacturer code and number 3 a generic code. Example: C2000, B2000, and U2000 equals manufacturer code. C3000, B3000, and U3000 equals generic code. Third digit indicates the system where the fault is located. Digits 4 and 5. They indicate the specific section of the fault. Wait. Important. If this information is useful to you, please subscribe. That way you motivate us to continue uploading more videos. What do the letters in a DTC code mean? The letter P, powertrain. If the code begins with this letter, the fault is in the vehicle's engine or transmission. Example: P0420. The letter C, chassis. If the code begins with this letter, the fault is found in the vehicle's chassis. Example: C0420. The letter B, body if the code begins with this letter. The fault is found in the body, air conditioning, or airbag of the vehicle. Example, B0420. The letter U, network if the code begins with this letter. The fault is in the vehicle's wiring and communication network. Example, U0420. What is the OBD protocol? It is an onboard diagnostic system in cars, buses, and trucks, which aims to control the maximum limits of vehicle gas emissions. With the OBD system, you can diagnose and detect vehicle faults. What is the OBDI protocol? It is the second version of the OBD system, that is, the successor to OBD I. Unlike its previous version, OBD II can detect electrical, chemical, and mechanical faults. In addition, it keeps a record of these failures and the conditions under which they occurred. What is the EOBD protocol? It would be the equivalent of OBD II, but in Europe. The system used by vehicles in Europe is not OBD II, but EOBD, European Onboard Diagnostics. The objective of the EOBD protocol is to identify the faults that vehicles present and record them in the car's computer. What is OBD I and OBD II? OBD I, First Onboard Vehicle Diagnostic System. OBD I is the first generation of onboard diagnostics, OBD, systems used in vehicles produced from the 1980s to the early part of the 1990s. This system allows mechanics and technicians to detect and diagnose problems related to the engine performance and other important vehicle systems through a diagnostic connector and diagnostic codes generated by the vehicle's onboard computer. OBD I is less advanced than its successor OBD II and offers a limited amount of information for diagnostics. OBD II, successor or improved version of OBD I. OBD II or OBDI is used mainly in the United States and Latin America. OBD II is also used in most modern vehicles produced after 1996. This system allows mechanics and technicians to detect and diagnose problems related to engine performance and other important vehicle systems through a diagnostic connector and trouble codes. Diagnostics generated by the vehicle's onboard computer. OBD II is more advanced than OBD I and offers a greater amount of information and more accurate diagnosis. Additionally, it is a universal standard for OBD systems in the United States and Europe, meaning that the same types of diagnostic information and codes can be used on different makes and models of vehicles. What advantages does the OBD II versus OBDI system have? Its main advantage is that it gives a much more specific diagnosis of the faults and their location. OBD II can detect electrical, chemical, and mechanical faults, unlike OBD I, which only monitored some of the components related to emissions. How many OBD II codes are there? There are over 3,000 different OBD II codes. However, not all codes are used on all vehicles or in all geographic regions. Many of them are specific to a manufacturer or a specific vehicle model, while others are generic and used in many different types of vehicles. The number of codes available may also vary over time as new codes are added to reflect evolving vehicle systems and technologies. How to erase OBD II codes without scanner? To clear OBD II codes without a scanner, you can try the following. Disconnect the battery. Cutting off power will erase all codes stored in the vehicle's computer. Driving the vehicle. Some codes will automatically clear after driving the vehicle for a while, especially if the problem that caused the code has been resolved. However, it is advisable to use an OBD II scanner to accurately clear the codes and check if the problem that caused the code has been resolved. Additionally, using a scanner also allows you to check and monitor other vehicle parameters and receive additional information about diagnostic codes. What do permanent codes mean? These are codes that cannot be erased by simply disconnecting the battery or using an automotive scanner. The problem indicated by the permanent OBD II code must be solved, so that the fault no longer appears and the check engine light goes off. Permanent codes are those that are stored in the vehicle's computer memory after being activated. Unlike pending codes, which are cleared after the problem that caused the code is corrected, permanent codes remain in the vehicle's memory until manually cleared. These codes may indicate a chronic or recurring problem that requires attention and repair. How many pins does the OBD II connector have? The OBD II connector has 16 pins. These pins are used to connect the OBD II scanner to the vehicle's onboard diagnostic, OBD, system, and collect information about the vehicle's status and any diagnostic codes generated. Not all pins are used on all vehicles, and some pins may have different functions depending on the vehicle manufacturer and model. However, the 16 pins provide a universal standard for connecting OBD II scanners and accessing OBD system information. What cars have the OBD II system? Since 1996, it has been mandatory for all cars to have the OBD II system, which is why all vehicle assembly companies, Toyota, Ford, Jeep, Chevrolet, and others, include this system. If your car is from 1995 or earlier, it likely has OBD I. Some cars from 1995 may have the OBD II system, since many companies began to comply with the regulations that same year. If your car was manufactured in 1996 or later years, it definitely has the OBD II protocol. What cars have the OBD system? Cars created before 1995 and some from that year. If your vehicle is from 1995 or earlier, it likely has OBD I. All vehicles sold in the United States since 1981 must have some type of OBD system built in. However, the most common and widely used OBD system is OBD II, which was introduced in 1996 and is required on all vehicles sold in the United States since that year. Therefore, if a vehicle was manufactured and sold in the United States after 1981, it likely has some type of built-in OBD system, although the types and features of the system may vary depending on the make and model of the vehicle. How do I know if my car is compatible with OBD II? 1. Check the year of your vehicle. Cars manufactured in 1996 or later years definitely have the OBD II protocol. 2. Check the hood. If your car is from 1995, it may have the OBD II protocol, but you should check the hood for a label that indicates whether your vehicle has been certified by OBD I or OBD II. 3. Check your owner's manual. Tools to read and clear DTC codes on a vehicle. To read and clear DTC codes on a vehicle, the following tools are needed. OBD II scanner. A device that connects to the OBD II connector in the vehicle and communicates with the vehicle's diagnostic system to read and clear DTC codes. Scan software. Software used in conjunction with the OBD II scanner to interpret DTC codes and provide information about vehicle problems. OBD II connector. A connector found on the vehicle that allows the OBD II scanner to connect to the vehicle's diagnostic system. In some cases, a smartphone or tablet with a specific app can be used to read and clear DTC codes instead of an OBD II scanner. However, these applications often require an OBD II adapter connected to the OBD II connector in the vehicle in order to function. How does a DTC code affect vehicle performance? A DTC code can affect a vehicle's performance in several ways, depending on the system affected and the severity of the problem. Some of the most common effects include reduced engine power. If a system critical to engine operation is failing, the engine may not function properly and may have a decrease in engine power. Transmission problems. If a DTC code is related to the transmission may not be working properly, causing a poor transmission, rough shifting, or even transmission failure. Problems with the brake system. If a DTC code is related to the brake system, the brakes may not function properly and cause a decrease in braking ability. Cooling system problems. If a DTC code is related to the cooling system, it is possible for the engine to overheat and cause long-term damage. It is important to note that DTC codes must be addressed immediately to prevent long-term damage and to maintain optimal vehicle performance. What happens if a DTC code on a vehicle is ignored? Ignoring a DTC code on a vehicle can have serious consequences for the vehicle's performance and safety. Here are some of the possible consequences of ignoring a DTC code. Worsening of the problem. If the DTC code is left unresolved, the underlying problem can worsen over time and lead to more serious damage to the vehicle system. Increased repair costs. If the problem is not resolved, it may require a more expensive and complex repair. Reduced fuel efficiency. An unresolved problem can affect fuel efficiency and cause the vehicle to consume more gas than necessary. Safety problems. Some problems can affect the safety of the vehicle, including problems with the brakes, steering, and fuel system. In short, it is important to take DTC codes seriously and troubleshoot as soon as possible to prevent further damage and improve vehicle performance and safety. DTC codes are a valuable tool for diagnosing problems in a vehicle system. With an OBD II code scanner and a little knowledge, Any vehicle owner can effectively monitor and troubleshoot their car.